sometimes what happens when you are talking to somebody, like in your friends, your two friends, so you are talking to somebody, and whatever your friend says, you will react. Okay, most of the time what you do, you react. React means if he's saying something you don't like him, like whatever he's saying, you react immediately. You go away from there, or you shout back on him, or this is what is called reaction. But if you listen to him carefully, why he is speaking like that? He spoke something, but why he is speaking like that? What is his intentions? Okay, what he is thinking about that? So it is not just whatever the word that he is putting, but internally what he is thinking about. Okay, what may be his understanding levels. So if you understand all these things, that is what is called empathy. Okay, if you think like the other person, okay, you think what the other person may be thinking, and based on that you speak. That is what is called response. That is not called reaction. That is what is called response. Okay, means you are thinking, you first understand the other person, then you start thinking about what he may be thinking and what could be the right solution for that, and based on that you give an answer. This is what is called empathy. So you have to develop empathetical behavior, empathetical understanding in your class. Means every student is unique. Some of the students are quiet, they don't speak. Some students are very much outspoken. Some students ask a lot of questions. Okay, so you understand when you go to the class, when you see everyone in the first few classes, you should come to know like who is what. Okay, then you have once you understand that student, then you will have patience, because whatever the question they ask, whatever the way they behave in the class, there is a reason behind it. So if you understand that reason behind it, then definitely you will have that patience to handle those people, so that you can actually make them better, okay, by the end of the course, not only subject wise but also as a person wise. Okay, this is another important practice even I do many times in my class. Wherever there is an opportunity to talk with the students, okay, and try to understand that what they are actually doing, and based on that we actually act. Okay, so this is what is called empathy. Okay, the next important point is adaptability. What is adaptability? Can somebody tell me what do you mean? Maybe some teachers are also there, right? I hope in this meeting. So around there are 36 participants I can see here. Can somebody say what I'm talking about here? Adaptability. Adaptability is nothing but you have to adapt to the situations. Okay, so sometimes what happens, even if you college, when you are a student, if you look at your teachers, some teachers are very quite orthodox. You feel orthodox in the sense, okay, why things are changing, world is moving fast, ICT tools have come, a lot of other online courses, everything has come, but they just want to teach like offline, just use a chalk piece on the board, not more than that. Okay, because they're very used to it, and they don't want to change it. They don't want to change their style. Okay, they just want to go in that same flow, but that is not correct. Okay, so you have to make the adjustments to meet the changing requirements. Okay, so you have to embrace to the new technologies and teaching methods. Okay, so world is changing, things are changing, so you cannot just stick to the old methods. So wherever there is a scope for development, right? So definitely you have to also understand them. In fact, you have to follow them. Okay, you have to implement them. Then only you will be having that kind of you will be connected to the new technologies, and you will be connected to the present students, because the students are also changing. Culture is changing. Students are also changing. They are not the old students, right? You cannot say that, okay, why the student is opening the book and reading, or what he is doing, his way of reading is different. Okay, so you have to adapt to that. Okay, so I have seen some of the students in my class, they sometimes open, mobiles, okay, to do it. Sometimes they bring laptops to the class and work on it. Okay, why? No, no, no. Old students, no, you should not do all these things. Of course, there is a misuse. They do it definitely, but wherever there is a chance, like for example, some coding work, they have to do it. Okay, so let them bring laptops. Let them do it in the class. Nothing wrong in it. Okay, so you have to adapt to the situations, whatever is required and what is the present scenario, and based on that, you actually have to change and work along with them. Right. The next point is passion for teaching. Very important point. I already said. Okay, passion for teaching. The first point, of course, is very, very important point. I have to put it in the first note. Passion. Without passion, you don't go to the teaching field. Okay, just for because you won't enjoy there, right? So teaching passion, as I said, you want to change the people. You want to make the people better, make your students better. Whatever your teachers taught, you want to implement that. Whatever your teachers were not able to, you really feel that they have some drawbacks, but you want to implement them with your knowledge. Okay, so if you have this kind of attitude, definitely you come to teaching field. This is what is called a passion for teaching. Okay. Okay. Next point is classroom management. Another important, very, very important. Classroom management skills. Okay. So again, many new teachers face problem in classroom management. So sometimes taking class hours like longer time. So if there is some 1 hour class, so go up to 1 hour, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, because you want to teach the concept. Okay. Sometimes you feel that when you're writing something on the board, students are doing some other work. Okay. Sometimes they are disconnected. Lot of issues that you face inside the class when you're teaching, right? So you have to handle all these things. Okay. Again, the key is the empathy. Like you have to understand what they are doing. What is their mode. Okay. So before all that, I want to tell one thing with my experience. Whenever I go to a classroom, right? So before the semester, I prepare all my schedule, okay, complete from the beginning to the end. And sometimes if I teach the course 1 or 2 times, so I can also prepare the exams also. Okay. Quizzes, minors, mid exams, end exams, all question papers also prepared. Everything planned. Okay. And once after going to the class, in the first few classes, I will try to understand. First class, I will try to interact with the students also. What they are, what is their background, where they came from. Okay. When they are speaking. So this is not only just to identify their background, but also like what is their mode. Some people are quiet. They don't want to open up, stand up and speak. They want to see the ground and speak. Okay. Some people are outspoken. Okay. You will find all these things. Okay. So you should understand these things. This is very, very important point here in classroom management also. So once you understand all these things, then we'll continue with the class. So once you know this, some people will stop you asking many questions. Okay. Some people don't answer anything. Some people will be sitting back and they want to do some other work. You'll find different kind of people within the class, but you should understand the scenario, what they are doing, how they are, what is their mode of each student. Okay. And based on that, you have to set your assignments, effectively use your time. And on an average, you have to teach, right? You cannot go, at a higher level, or you cannot go in a very low pace. But on average, how it reaches everyone, you have to go. And those people who are asking more questions, you should give some tough assignments during the class hours. Those people who are not at all talking, you have to go interact with them, and motivate them, encourage them so that they can also participate in your classroom. Okay. So like that, you have to manage it. Okay. But before all that, you should have the clear-cut plan. And even when you are going to the class, 1 hour class, for example, you are teaching, what is the content that you have planned for that particular 1 hour? So these things are very, very important. The planning is important. Once you have the complete plan, once you go to the class, all the things will go smooth. So you understand, right? So it is something like, if you have all the amenities, say, for example, you're cooking some food, right? If everything is already there with you, okay, only the planning is also there, then it is easily you can execute it. Whatever the subject you want to make it, you can easily make it. Similarly, if you have all the plans with you, all the content, subject you study, knowledge, everything, then once you come to the class, you can manage the student. It is not that what you speak, okay? It is that how you are managing the students. Managing in a sense, in a positive way I'm talking about. So what all the students are feeling and how you are interacting with them. So you can more focus on that. Okay, so I do the same thing. So once I go to the class, I just enjoy myself. Okay, and when you are teaching also, it is not like a regular sentence by sentence teaching, but you can give many examples in the class. If I teach my vibrations class, I give a lot of examples, live examples, which which are connected to human psychology, right? Means if I say maybe, I don't know, most of your physics students maybe may not understand that. See, just one example, Newton's third law, maybe everybody is knowing, right? So if you say Newton's third law, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So you can say that like there are two people, so one of your friend is beating you, then the other person beats you back, right? It is something like that. So if you give some kind of a human related examples, right, then obviously they will be connected to the students and they will really enjoy your classroom lecture. Okay, this is another point which I want to tell you. But once you get this knowledge, like once you have the information, once you understand the information, you can relate the information. Once it becomes knowledge, then you can actually go to the class and you can enjoy yourself. So whenever you go to a class, when do you think that you are a good teacher is, you can yourself judge yourself. Okay, that you go to the class and you first enjoy yourself. It is not that you are motivating somebody else. First, you enjoy yourself. You go to the class. When you are teaching, you enjoy yourself, the teaching methodology or whatever the teaching process that you are doing. Okay, then it means that you are basically a good teacher. Okay, so you yourself can judge. You can check it. Afterwards, right? This is one point. Then assessment and feedback. Another point: assessment and feedback. All these are of course related. So you have to give the feedback. Teachers should be able to design fair and effective assessments to evaluate student learning. So you should give a constructive feedback to the students. Always means you should not demotivate. So many teachers, they do it. Why you are not doing that? Why you don't do this? Okay, you don't know even this. Okay, recently some decision also being taken here that we don't want to say that fail students as fail students, but we can say that some academic probation or something. So we can extend them. Means whatever the students, if they are weak, so you should motivate them. You should not give a feedback that it will demotivate them. Okay, always see that. See, because there are various reasons, that is why he is not able to perform well. But again, if you go back and you tell the same thing, what he can do. You understand that point? So you have to, because you are a teacher, that is your responsibility, that you have to bring him back and he should develop himself, right? So you should take steps to motivate him, and he should come back to what, or he has to do better in future. For that, what are the steps to be taken? That is what you have to think. But it is not that you have to just demotivate again, things to them, right? This is another point which I want to tell you. Then the other point is the professional development. Professional development is required for teachers. Professional development. The professional development means whatever previously knowledge that you have to further improve time to time. Okay, for that you have to attend faculty development programs. That's one thing. And more than all these things, FTPs and all these things really help you. But more than all these things, time to time you have to check, analyze the things. Analyze the things that analysis comes from your own content. Your own content in the sense, when you go to the college and teach something, after the coming back, you analyze yourself. How I was teaching, it is a truthful analysis. So how you taught the class and what are the merits, demerits, what happened, how can I teach better, what kind of a process I should have used. So you have to analyze these things. Okay. along with these FDPs and other faculty development programs and professional development programs you take. So you interrelate these two things, and this is what I learned from this program, FDP program, and this is what I am doing here. So how can I make it myself better? Okay, so this kind of analysis you should do it. And out of all these things, the most important thing which is lacking nowadays, but which is very essential for teachers, is ethical conduct. Ethical conduct. Okay. So ethical conduct. So there are two terms we generally use in our product design and other engineering courses. The first one is the legal issues and ethical issues. So legal issues are forceful. Okay, if some legal problem is there. Okay, if somebody constructing a building, there is some problem, so there will be a legal issue. Okay, obviously he is in trouble. But ethical problems are, you do some small things, right? You spit on the road. When you're going by road, you spit on the road. Nobody says there's no fine in your state or whatever. Okay, but there's an ethical issue there. So what others will know, others may not be knowing there, they may walk on that. So we don't know, right? So this, you should have it. Ethical things, ethics are a little different from legal things, where there is nobody punish you, but you should have that particular quality in you. Okay, teachers should have ethics. Okay, and they have to follow ethics in classroom as well as when they're outside, when they're meeting students, and when they're at their regular work. Because most of the times, learning happens by mimicking it. Okay, mimicking or looking at the things, not because of this particularly happens when you take your kids. Okay, if you are married or if you have some small kids in your home, you can just observe that if you tell them you do this, they won't do it, but whatever you are doing, they will do it. If you hold your mobile and the whole day you are sitting on the bed, they will also do the same thing. Okay, but if you go early morning and go for a walk and but everything you follow timetable, their kids also be like that. The same trend will follow even at their elder age. I have seen that some of my colleagues who are very disciplined, their children are also very disciplined. Okay, it is not because that he is every day telling that you be disciplined, right? Because they are, whatever his parent or whatever the senior they are around us doing, they follow that. Okay, this is what is called the mimicking kind of thing. So teachers should be ethical. So if you follow the ethics, all students will follow the ethics. So let us see, in the country, all teachers follow the ethics properly in whatever circumstances. Okay, then all students, they will follow the ethics, and all these students become some engineers, some scientists, some job holders everywhere in the country. And because the ethics are inculcated in them, so they all follow these ethics, and then what will happen to the country? The fate of the country. So the fate of the country is indirectly in the hands of the teachers. Okay, so so the teachers, so that is the importance of the ethical values. So it may look very simple, okay, ethics, but once if you follow these ethics, all these people, they learn a lot from that. And so not only ethical standards, so whatever that you do in the classroom, okay, they will follow that. So once they come out of the parents, all the things are in the hands of the teachers. That is the importance of the teachers. Okay, so so try to inculcate all these characteristics within yourself, you cross-check it, and then you can develop yourself into a better level, right? Right. So this is all about the basic characteristics of a teacher. Now let us see the different levels of teaching, levels of teaching. Okay, levels of teaching. The first level is what is called memory level. We call it as. There, of course, there are very many interpretations. So memory level. What is a memory level? So it is basically primary. This kind of teaching level is primarily we are involving the students. Of course, any questions up to here? Any discussions? Are you participating? Are you following me? Dr. Ganashan, is everything fine? Anybody there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, let us discuss the level of thinking. But if you have any questions, you can ask. The interactive sessions are very good. Okay. Even during Corona time, when I was teaching online, even to my own students, it was very, very effective courses. Some of the courses are very effective where there is a complete communication between students. So always communication is very, very important. So whatever that you have in your mind, again, I tell the same point. The first point again here, whatever that you have in your mind, you speak to somebody else. So don't think that whatever that I ask may be correct, wrong, or whatever. Okay, so just you communicate with others, that will really help you. Right. So let us say the levels of okay, next page. Okay, so levels of the teaching, levels of teaching. Okay, the first one is the memory level. So this happens in most of the institutions where the teaching primarily involves the memorization of the facts and informations, and teachers focus on transmitting information to students who are expected to recall and reproduce this information. So you have something in your book, you write it there, or the students will copy it and they will read it, and then also you will assess them using some multiple choice questions or some kind of objective questions, okay, or some kind of fill in the blanks questions, okay. So are some straightforward question and answer kind of things where whatever that they remember, they will just reproduce it in the paper, okay, and then they write in the exam. So this is something like a remembering and answering. This is what is called memory level. The second level is what is called understanding level. Understanding level. Understanding level is you'll be talking about the principles, and also you give some kind of examples, as I just said now, and the understanding material. So people, rather than just by hearting it, okay. So you see many students sometimes they have something notes, even they cannot remember everything. They use a wrong concept, they just by heart it, and then just they present it in the exam. Okay, it will create other problems. So instead of that, they have to understand it. So how can you encourage this understanding ability in students? So you have to basically give examples. Okay, so even though you are teaching a small concept, don't teach everything. You give a small concept. Even I do that in my classroom lectures. When there is a particular syllabus content, you don't much worry about the syllabus, whatever you have to complete everything. But whatever the basics that you are teaching on every topic, right? You give examples, you see that the students understand the clear-cut concept of the basic level problem, not advanced level. So what happens, the advantage is the students will get some interest. If you just by heart and reproduce it, they forget. But here in this case, what happens, the students will get some interest on it. Once the students get interest, then they finish the exam, they go back, they work somewhere, but somewhere in their lifetime, somewhere in their professional, workplace, they may require this knowledge. This topic. So at that time, what they do, they open the book, they read it. But when they're reading it, they should have this kind of a happiness. Okay, I have studied this. Okay, this was the concept. You understand? So once you teach the basics very clearly, if the students understand the basics, then definitely they can apply this during practical situations. Okay. So practical situations, it will easily, they can help and they can read it. Of course, nowadays, everything available online, you'll see what are the various sources we have in a while. Okay. But when they're open and referring it, they should have the fundamental. But if they just by heart it, they will be completely disconnected on what they're reading. So memory level is good. Okay. But understanding level is very, very important. Okay. For the students. Right. Third one is the reflective, what we call reflective level of teaching. Reflective. reflective level of teaching. Okay, what do you mean by reflective level of teaching? Anybody? What is reflective level of teaching? Can anybody tell? Anybody tell what is reflective level of teaching? Nowadays, everywhere we are in small schools, everywhere they go, okay, you do this case study, there is a project. Even my kids come home, daddy, this work is there today. Papa, ये सब चिपका वहाँ पे book में. Okay. So all these things will be there. Okay. You have to write the drawings, sketches, some shading, all projects from childhood itself. Or if it is a high school level, they ask you to make small projects, displaying some events. Okay, so at every level now we encourage the case studies, projects, etc., etc. Okay, so basically reflective level of study, what we do is, it is not only that the memory, remembering or understanding, but you are also doing something with what you have learned. Okay, this is what is called reflective learning. Okay, so basically developing critical thinking, in the students, critical thinking. Okay, so critical thinking and creative thinking, these are the two terms we generally use quite often. As per the Rogers-Parrish theory, like we have a right mind and left mind, where the right mind people are more creative and left mind people are critical. Basically, whoever in their profession, they should have a combination of these two minds, not only critical and creative, right? So critical is basically there is a problem and how you solve it. Okay, with the given information. Creative is something like when there is nothing, how to come up with a new idea. Okay, this is something like a creative. So you should have a combination of these two, and based on this, you'll be doing very many projects, and implement it. Okay, but most of the times we only because we are in a cycle of critical thinking. So more like analytical thinking. I say analytical thinking is a better word, but sometimes you have to also think, creative. You have to mix creativity to the critical thinking so that you can come up with new inventions, new innovations, even at the teaching, at the academic level, academic institution level. Okay, because nowadays academicians, particularly high-level academicians, it is not only teaching, but the research point of research is also very, very important. Because any country, if you take, you have industries, R&D labs. But for all those things, all those people, the academicians should support, from the academic level. So for that, they have to do academic research, right? So of course, academic research or maybe some reflective thinking, whatever, that you have to inculcate in the students. So for that, you have to have a reflective level of teaching. So memory level, just memorizing, understanding level is better. Understand, they understand the concepts clearly, and based on that they work. And the reflective level of teaching, so they do some projects, case studies, presentations. Sometimes we ask them to in the class, okay, so that they can think creatively and critically, and they solve the problems, okay, at the academic level itself, which will be helpful for them later on. Okay, so this is all about the things. Okay, and also many people might have heard about this Bloom taxonomy. If you are teachers, Bloom's taxonomy. What is Bloom's taxonomy? Anybody? But many people, when they are setting the question papers, they follow these methodology. Anybody follow the Bloom's taxonomy in your college while you're setting the question papers, etc.? Bloom has given some 6 memory levels correspond to knowledge level. 6 levels of memory to knowledge. You can say 6 levels from memory to knowledge. What are they called? They're called the first level is understanding. Then you have comprehension. Now after comprehension, we have application. After application, we have, can anybody tell what is after application? Analysis, synthesis, and then we have evaluation. Okay. So you have to test the students, or whenever you are teaching something, you should incorporate all these things, starting from understanding, comprehension, application, analysis, and synthesis and evaluation. So whenever you ask questions, okay, so you will see all these things in your notes. So can somebody tell like what we ask questions in understanding? In understanding, what kind of questions generally we ask? Understanding questions. So for example, if you set a question paper, what kind of questions you ask in understanding level? Design, actually, this is a little different also sometimes. Analysis, synthesis, design, we say. Of course, anyway, this is basically some question. So you just say that some memory questions also you can ask starting from memory. Okay, memory questions is something like define this, identify that. Okay, some basic questions. I call it as, I don't call it as a knowledge, I can call it as an understanding or a memory kind of a question, because knowledge is a little different if you ask the question. Right? Tell, explain, etc. Now understanding is summarize, interpret, classify, that kind of questions you ask. And application type questions, generally if something is you solve this problem, or you sketch it, or you discover something, this kind of question if you ask means you are asking some question at the applying stage. So after that, the better question here will come, that is something like analyze, connect, devise. Okay, so this kind of questions if you are asking, then we call it as a analyze. Then synthesis is something like design, modify this, develop some equation, or modify something. Okay, these are all something like at a high level of cognition, right? So these are various cognition levels, we call it as Bloom's taxonomy, various cognitions. So we have memorizing, understanding, comprehension, application, analysis, okay, evaluation and design, or synthesis and evaluation, whatever. Okay, so these all these things are different level of understanding this question. Okay. Right. I don't know how many of you are following. I'm teaching on one way. What's going on, I don't know. Okay, but anyway, I hope it's useful to some extent. Right. This is one thing that you should know. Then after that, let us also some syllabus I have seen in your exam, that is the characteristics of adolescent learners and the adult learners. Characteristics of adolescent and adult learners. Okay. So how they are different, these two learners, means most of your teachers now you're at PhD level or master's level, maybe some people already teaching, and now again you came back after MS or whatever, after studying you came back to teaching again, or came back to studies, higher studies like PhD again, right? So now how your teaching skills are different from those small young children, your high school or the plus 2 or early BTech students, how they grasp the things. What is the difference that you should understand? Okay, even when you are addressing different groups, it is different. So when I was in US, I was teaching a mechanics class. Okay, so there I was teaching evening class. So I have a group of students where some of the students are very seniors, like 50-year-old students were sitting there, and I'm teaching that class along with the new kids, right, who are fresh BTech students, right? So how the learning is different, okay, in these two cases. So if you take the adolescent learners who are young people, so they have a rapid cognitive development. They're very fast learners. Okay. So my professor always used to tell me, Shrikant, you are the, so I am the oldest person. I am the least, smart person. Okay. Then you, then the MTech students, then the BTech students. Okay. So the BTech people are the most smart people. Okay. Because they can do miracles. Okay. So even placements, if you see, they're more, biased towards BTech students, because at that time, they don't have many, they have not experienced many, things on their mind. Their minds are open. They don't face many problems, challenges. So they want to do anything they want. Okay, they're very happy to do anything they want. So they have a very high level cognitive levels, and they also have a eager to explore the things, explore various subjects. Okay, in fact, this is more even in kids. If you take kids like 5-year, 6-year kids, they have more this kind of attitude. Means wherever you go out, they ask you a lot of questions. They ask you, why this, why that? Okay, why you should not do this, why you should do that, what is happening with that, how you fabricate car. So say my kid, second kid, if he sees a TV, if you see some car or something, how you may make that car, you tell me. These kind of questions they ask. But if we are busy during that time, you say, no, don't ask questions. You don't ask any questions. Please stop. Okay, we discourage them. Okay, but that is very much needed if you want to really invent. But unfortunately, the system actually somewhere discourages those things because of various reasons. Okay, but now that NEP concept has come in the country, so hopefully that will promote this kind of encouraging this activation, so this attitude. So we have to motivate these kind of questions. We have to encourage the kids. We have to encourage these adolescent learners. So we should not stop them. If there are more questions, you just involve with them. Even if you cannot answer, it is there. Beyond that, give a tough assignment to them. Let them also check it. Let them go to an extent where they can explore. Okay. So you don't stop them that, okay, this is the answer. You don't do any other method. This is the method you have to do it. You don't follow the new method. You don't stop them. Let them do it. Because from there, actually, the inventions and the new things will come up. Right. So, so they are eager to explore many things. That is an important point. Then shifting focus from concrete to abstract thinking. Okay, they shift the focus from the concrete things to abstract thinking. Right. And also, in the other aspects, if you take in the adolescent learners, the other thing what they see is the peer influence is significant. So they just compare with the others. Maybe because of the social aspect or whatever, I don't know, but they compare with the other people, like how the others are doing, how I am doing. So this kind of analysis they're doing. Okay. Then another important thing in kids, what we see is they have intense emotions and mood swings. Okay. They are not consistent. If you take the kids, they are not consistent with what they do. Okay. And also exploration of independence. They want to do everything independently. This is another point. Generally adolescents they have. Okay. But the drawbacks, if you see, is that the main drawback, of course, one line I can also tell it in one line. The main drawback with these adolescent things are they don't have experience. They don't face tough situations, in that time, right? So that is the why they're a little bit inexperienced, in doing the things. Okay, that is the reason why even I tell my kids also, I tell my students also, what I tell is you do whatever you want. Say, for example, there is a student club activity. Okay, I just give the freedom to them. Whatever they want to do, you do it, because you are the people who can do better than us. That is for true, right? But the thing is, you will face problems somewhere. Maybe it is with our children also. We can tell the same point. But at some particular point of time, once you are going somewhere, you will be stopped because of various reasons which you don't know, because you are inexperienced. So during that time, you need the experience of us. Okay, so you should know that point. You should know that I can do anything. That is true. At some point of time, I need your experience. That you should realize it. That will help you. Okay, so this is one understanding. Now, if you take the adult learners, this is all about the adolescent people. Adult learners, they are highly motivated by practicality and relevancy, and prior life experiences contribute to learning. They have specific career goals and interests. Okay, and also they are stable in emotions. Okay, but only one drawback with the adolescent learners. Drawback in this is not drawback, but when you are teaching to adult learners. So you should be very careful that they are not, because if say your brain, if there is one thing, you are very sharp and fast. But if there are many things around handling, okay, your family, your kids, all the other things, and then you're participating in a program, then your cognitive levels are not very fast, and you're not highly motivated in that. Okay, so you have your own pace of learning. Okay, so when you're teaching a gathering, okay, adolescent or adult learning, so you should be careful understanding these things. Again, this is very important. So you have to understand empathy again comes into picture here. So if you are empathetic in with others, then you will understand what the other person is feeling. He may be adult, he may be adolescent, or he may be quiet person, he may be a very outspoken person, okay, or he may be very intelligent person, or whatever. If you understand that, based on that, your teaching should go on. For that, again, you should have a complete understanding of that particular subject. When you go, before you go to the class, you should develop a knowledge, not information. You should have a knowledge. Information, if you have, you just write it on the board. But if you have a knowledge, you close the book and you share your experiences on the particular topic. That is knowledge. If you are a knowledgeable person, definitely when you go to class, you share your experiences, not your information that you want to put it before them. Okay, so this is one thing. Okay, so another important objective for your exams, one by one I'm going. So because I don't know, I'm going in general, but the syllabus is something, whatever that I'm covering here is something related to your exam, your state government exam. So I hope these experiences which I'm sharing will be helpful for all of you, right? The other one is different, types of learning nowadays. Nowadays we are calling it as offline learning. Earlier days, okay? Offline learning means on board you go, use your chalk piece and teach. Okay, then we have the online learning nowadays, particularly from the corona, it popped up a lot. Okay, and then sometimes we call it as hybrid learning. Okay, hybrid learning. And then also there are many ICT tools in this process. We are using the many ICT tools that we are using, ICT based tools. Okay, information communication technology based tools. Okay, we are using nowadays. Okay, so let us briefly discuss about these points. What are the relative advantages, disadvantages, and what are the various sources that we have in this context. So first, traditional teaching, like in India, if you take, it is from the tradition, like from the old days, there are some gurus. Okay, so if you take traditional, modern and ICT, that is information communication technology based. Okay, so traditional, we have a very old way of teaching. Conventional gurus will be there, teachers will be following their disciplines, and they follow that teaching. Even if you take some 20 years back or 15 years back, like past decade, the teachers, they teach more like a traditional teaching, blackboard teaching, stick to blackboard teaching. All students are very strict. Recently, one of our alumni has come, visited our college. He was telling at that time, particularly in the labs, okay, out of 100 students, some 80 students fail, only 20 students will pass. Nowadays, 95 students, they are passing, only 5 students are failed. Okay, the things have changed. They're very strict. Even if you don't do anything, it is very difficult to do. Difficult to pass. And once, if you don't pass, but later on they will pass and they will go and working, in some companies. Now what he's saying is, now if I work in my company, if any machine is a problem in there, I can myself go. I don't call any technician. I can go myself. I have the confidence to correct it, because that kind of a learning, they give that much of confidence to them. But nowadays everything is easy learning. In fact, one way the disadvantage is easy learning, right? So you are not very strong in these fundamentals, but they're very strong in that fundamentals, the traditional learning. But actually, you cannot again stick to that. As I just said, you should be adaptable. Right? You cannot only traditional learning I will do it, because things are changing. Social life is changing. Complete culture is changing, right? So you cannot again only stick to traditional learning. Now things are changing. Modern things have come. So in modern teaching, we are dealing with many other aspects, and now we have actually, if you see nowadays, of course, we are also using ICT, information communication technology. So I'm using a tab to write all these notes on a white pad, right? So these things have come. So because technology is growing, electronics has come, computer science has grown, IT has grown, artificial intelligence is coming up. So with all these things, we can easily work on the things. So when there is a easily that we can do something, why should we rely on the old techniques? So we have to adapt to this. But we have to adapt to this, but also it is our responsibility to inculcate high standards in the students. Okay, with this, so you have use these tools and make a proper plan how we can do it. So that is what we have to do. It's not neither to sticking to the traditional method or not just using ICT methods and making your processes simple. Okay, so you have to create some plan which you can have a mixture of these two things and make produce better students, right? That is the thing. So okay, that is one thing. Then now for these nowadays we have various types of online platforms that where you can learn. Okay, now actually here I have to tell one point. There is a difference between a teacher-centric and learning-centric, teacher-centric and learner-centric. Okay, teacher-centric and learner-centric. What is the difference? Teacher-centric is something like teacher will be teaching, okay, knowledge, and the knowledge will be gained. That may be at the memory level or it may be at knowledge level. That is a different issue. I mean, understanding level. The teacher may give memory, or he may be giving understanding, or he may be sharing his knowledge. By that, actually, students will learn. This is what is called teacher-centric. So in traditional system, it is more like a teacher-centric. But now it is more like a learner-centric. Okay. So learner-centric is like you will learn based on your project. So the teacher will come to the class, he will give basics briefly, and then he won't teach anything else. He won't teach the complete notes and everything. He will give a project or a case study. The students themselves form into team, learn, explore, and understand themselves. This is more like a learner-centric. Now, this learner-centric approach is, developed, and also nowadays it is more and more popularized because of various sources that are available nowadays. Okay, so nowadays we have many MOOCs courses and also online methods. Okay, so like Swayam. Have you heard about Swayam? 𝗘𝗱𝗂𝗰𝗁𝗲, Swayam portal, 𝗘𝗱𝗂𝗰𝗁𝗲. Okay, then we have the MOOCs. So MOOCs means what? MOOCs courses. Can anybody tell what is MOOCs? Massive. Anybody? MOOCs. Yes or no? I don't know whether you are following or you know or you don't know. Okay, massive. Open online courses. Open online courses. MOOCs. Okay, means there are many courses online. You can just browse Coursera. So you can type these things. If you want to learn what is that, you can type MOOCs. What is MOOCs? Then Coursera. NPTEL. Have you heard about these things? I'm typing in the chat box. Coursera. Coursera. Or NPTEL. In our country, we have NPTEL. There are many lectures. Okay. We also have done one project, myself and my colleague, and we developed one course on systems and control. It is there on NPTEL. Okay, so all these courses they are very useful, and you can you can learn. So you don't need to depend on any teacher. So you can learn by yourself nowadays. It is very, very simple nowadays. You can learn by yourself. You don't need to depend on any teacher. This is more like a learner-centric. So learner-centric is giving some projects by the teacher and you can work on it, or you yourself can go open these kind of courses. Of course, some of these courses also provide some certificates, and then you can post it on social, professional social like LinkedIn, social media like LinkedIn and other things, so where you can promote yourself, among your peers. Whoever is interested can, come back to you, right, for some opportunity, professional opportunity, right? So these are the various tools like 𝗘𝗱𝗂𝗰𝗲, MOOCs. Okay, so Coursera, then edX, edX we have. So you can just type them in Google or in your phone, and you can see what are those things. And learning, this is also very, very important. So nowadays in current society, if you want to really excel, right? It is not that you just wait for a teacher that will come and teach something, but what you want to do, okay, that you can do it, because all things are available nowadays, okay, online, internet. Okay, so this is another site. So all these things you can just go and explore them. Okay, so you can learn. So another advantages with these courses is it is a self-paced learning. So if you are very confident that you can do by yourself, right? You want to learn by yourself, and if you take these courses, you don't need to wait for teacher, because teacher may go fast or slow, right? But these courses, you can take the videos. Just for example, if you take NPTEL course, so you can just open the NPTEL website, and then you just explore what are the courses. You will go to your relevant course, you open it, there will be assignments, there will be lecture material, there will be video lectures. So you can go slowly, like one by one you can go it. So if you have time today, you watch one video, you solve one assignment, tomorrow you do something. So some people can complete the course within 2 weeks, some people can complete in 4 months, 2 months, okay, based on your time, based on the ability that you can understand, so you can take the courses. Okay, so these sources you have to utilize it. Okay, so then only, so again, learner-centric education is better, though it is guru system and traditional system is very strong in our country, but learner-based learner-centric education, if you are very self-motivated and if you learn it, you will never forget that that education. Okay, whatever that you learn, you will never forget. Okay, because you are learning by yourself, nobody is teaching, so you are responsible in learning those things, so you really remember very well. Okay, so not only these things, but you can you also have this YouTube right now. So this is my personal experience, I'm telling you. If you want to learn some new concept, you don't know anything about it. Okay, so every day you see many videos, unwanted videos, everything on YouTube, So what you can do is you first try to understand that basic, crucial word, right? And after that, you go to YouTube, you understand, you read the videos, you understand the mechanism, you understand the concept, then you can open the book and you can read it. Okay, without the help of a teacher. Okay, so nowadays, because of these YouTube channels, many this kind of material is available in every field, not only field, anyway, every entertainment industry or technical engineering or sciences, whatever it may be. So you just go there, you understand the concept, and again you can come back. And all these courses really help, this 𝗘𝗱 or NPTEL or Coursera courses. And these people also provide a certificate for you. So you can also use it as a credential for you, because it is not always that your education qualification, but people will also see what kind of extra qualification. So one thing is you have done another certificate course, but at the same time, they will also see that you are a person who actually are self-motivated and you yourself learn something, with your self-motivation. Okay, this also they can, identify you. Okay, so please go through all these materials. So this is also, very, very useful, useful tools, I hope. Okay, so I have put some of them here in the chat box. Maybe I don't know whether you know it or don't know. But you just type it, you see what are the courses available, see if your course is available, physics related course, and how can you take it. Okay, so this is one thing. So I think, can I take 5 minutes, Dr. Ghanshyam?
Yes, sir, sure.
5 minutes, I'll finish. I don't know how they're feeling because there is no response. Right. Okay. Let me finish by just concluding this with the evaluation systems in academics. Okay. Evaluation is very, very crucial in any academics. It's engineering or science or high school or maybe college. So So there are various types of evaluation systems. Okay. But nowadays, if you just see that there are basically two types of evaluation we frequently hear about. Sometimes we call it as a formative type evaluation. The second one is called summative. Okay. So previously in Guru system, that is all preaching. Okay. And then again, he has to repeat it back so that marks are given. Okay. But if you take these recent days or in recent era, new era, I mean, when we were students, I can say, our parents and in that generation, we have more like an absolute type of grading. Absolute type of grading means once you finish your exam, once you finish your course, there will be exam, and in the exam you have to write the questions will be given. You have to answer it, and whatever percentage of marks that you get, the marks will be given to you. Okay, that is what was done, and it is more like a summative kind of evaluation where you have a fixed exams, mid exam. Okay, there is end exam and a midterm exam, and you have to answer it, and percentage marks are given. But nowadays, in recent systems, we are more towards relative grading. It is not absolute grading. We are talking of relative grading. I don't know what kind of grading system followed in Gujarat, right? And even in relative grading, also we are following the formative kind of analysis, formative kind of assessment. Now, what is understood is, during this, from this development in these education technologies, is that you have to analyze the students. You have to give the feedback immediately. Like, say, student, what is understood is, see, when a student is learning something in the class, if you put an exam in the end, or the 1 or 2 exams in the end, so he will write the exam. That is fine. He will get some credits. You can decide about how much you learn. That is good. But what kind of improvement that we can do it during that time? Okay, we are not making any improvement. So what we learned is that we have to give the feedback to the students at every level. Okay, so today we teach a class, tomorrow or 1 week we teach the class. What student has learned, you have to understand it, and you have to give him the feedback, and you should also give him an opportunity to learn better for the coming up content, right? So this is what is called formative kind of evaluation. So in this context, actually, nowadays we are more motivated to conduct quizzes. So formative, we conduct quizzes, we give presentations, assignments, projects, case studies. Okay, so all these kind of activities we involve them, the students, and we'll assess time to time. So now the marks are divided. Now it is not like 100 marks exam, end exam at the semester end. Now we are evaluating stage by stage. So first 2 weeks. So for example, in our college, after first 2-3 weeks, we conduct one minor exam or a quiz exam. So where whatever that I was teaching, so how they are learning, that we will come to know. Okay. Then there is a mid exam, then minor exam. So like this, every time this is what is called a continuous, evaluation. We call it as a continuous evaluation. Okay, that is the formative evaluation. Okay, and nowadays, of course, some of them they are conducting this computer-based testing. Even the entrance exam, some of them they are conducting a computer-based testing. And again, there are some relative advantages and disadvantages if it is a computer-based exam. But if you use technology properly, you can do it very fast. Have anybody heard about Slido? No. Slido in Google Slido. Anybody heard about it? So Slido is one tool in Gmail, in your Google itself. Google has a lot of tools. If you really explore all tools in Google itself, is a you can do miracles with that. In present scenario education, right? ICT based education. So where you can, there is a tool called Slido where you can create a quiz. Okay, you teach the class. While you are teaching the class, you can create a questionnaire on the Slido and send the Slido to all the mobiles of your students. They can just answer it immediately, and you can take the marks. and you can assess the students. It is like a continuous evaluation, formative analysis. Okay, so students are alert, they are not sleeping in the class. Okay, so they answer the questions so that you will also come to know what extent they have learned, what is how you are teaching to them. You have a feedback, and you can improve at every level of the teaching. Okay, so these ICT tools, computer-based education, they have a lot of scope for the modern day teaching. So finally, what I conclude in teaching aptitude is the previous old technologies, traditional technologies, giving a tough time to the students is very, very important. Okay, but at the same time, now the society is forwarding. We have a lot of tools, ICT tools. We have various online methods, online courses available, a lot of online material available. So you have to, shift your students' focus from the teacher learning center to the learners, teachers centric learning to learner centric learning. Okay, and also but at the same time, the teacher should guide the students. Nowadays the teacher's role is more like a mentor than just a traditional orthodox teacher. Okay, you should mentor. If you should mentor them, you should know all these things. Without knowing all these things, how can you teach them, right? So you should aware of all these things. Not only these, you should be a continuous learner throughout your career. 65 years also you should be learner. Okay, so if I see my other relatives who are working in some companies, okay, if I go to my some family function or something, they'll be enjoying, or evening after 5 o'clock they come, the work is done. Teacher, after coming back again 6, you have to open your book and read it, and you have to also learn what are the new things, progress that is happening around you. You should know about it, then you can mentor the students. But you should be very clever enough that how the students can learn by themselves, okay, which is actually giving more impact using whatever the new technologies that we have. So all these things you have to plan properly with your knowledge. Okay, this is all what I want to tell you. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Okay, but everybody is quiet. Okay, so any questions you can ask me. I don't know how many participants are there. So generally in my class, what I do, I go student by student and ask, but this time I'm not done it. Okay, anybody, if you have any questions, you can call me, you can ask me, or any clarifications, or any sometimes because there may be some teachers, so any debatable things, all welcome. All are welcome. Any questions?
Sir, I think there is no any question from the participants.
Okay.
So we
okay,
can.
If there are no questions, I'll stop it. Is it, at least you say, is it useful for all of you? You just can message me. Yeah. Okay, then I'm done. Dr. Ghanaశ్యామ్, I'm done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. 𝗘𝗱𝗂 sir. It's a very fruitful lecture for all the participants. I again will thanks to Professor 𝗘𝗱𝗂 sir on behalf of Dr. Subhash University. Thank you very much, sir. And now I would like to welcome our second expert, that is Rakesh Barot sir from BVM College, JUNAGADH. So without wasting the time, sir, I hand over the session to you. Please, sir, you can proceed now.
Okay,
Thank you, Ghanaశ్యామ్.
Can I leave now? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ghanaശ്યાమ్ sir, as well as organizing team, as well as university, for inviting me to address your participant. First, I would like to request all the student participants to switch on your camera so I can take screenshot for the record purpose. I request all the student members, student participant, please switch on your web camera so I can take snapshot for the record purpose, which can be submitted to our university.
Yes, sir. Please switch on the camera. Staff member can also switch on the camera.
Thank you, all of you. Now I am sharing my screen. I hope you should be able to see my presentation, research aptitude.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir, slide is not changing.
Yes, sir. I'll change it right now. I will make first confirmation about audio as well as visual presentation. Then we'll start. Now I will go to presentation mode. Yes, and I'm highlighting some of the points. Research aptitude, which is compiled by me from so many number of resources. And now I'm changing slide. First is content of presentation. I hope it is visible to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. So today, during this 1.5 hour, I will try to cover research meaning, its types, characteristics, its approach. Second part will be method of research, where experimental, descriptive, or maybe historical and qualitative or quantitative methods will be described. Later on, we'll go for step of research. Later on, it is followed with thesis or maybe article writing. And last part will be about application of ICT in research and research ethics. So first slide you should be able to see in your screen is what is research. If we'll go to the first image, as you can see here, research is defining a problem or say finding out the research gap. We should also find out the characteristic. Then we should adopt some quantitative or maybe qualitative approach for solving that problem, and it should be followed with some summary or maybe outcomes. So here, if we continue with the same one, the steps, maybe say first is defining the problem or maybe the research gap with the help of literature use or maybe some of the articles. It is followed with the development of some of the new methods or some improved methods, which can be followed with some of the taste or conceptual design, where some of times we need to consider some of the hypotheses also. And it is followed with some experiments or maybe statistical analysis. And later on, it is followed with the analysis. Once the analysis is performed, whichever interpretation we have made, that should be validated. And hence some validation or say confirmation experiments or confirmative designs are needed to be developed. And foremost, we also need to consider research ethics as well as research publication for concluding impressive research work. So research can be defined as search for the knowledge, or say it is systematic investigation, where we need to establish some of the facts which may not have identified by the some of the researcher or maybe scientist earlier. So your research should have some systematic way, some logical reasoning, some empirical development, some reductive or replicable outcome. Some same way, as you can see here, your research should be well defined. It should be systematically investigated. Some language improvements in representation of your research outcome also should be shown. And obviously, it should be important to society also. Now, there can be so many kinds of research area. So if you see here, there can be pure research or maybe applied research. There can be descriptive research or explanatory research. There can be structured research or maybe unstructured research. And there can be action research or maybe empirical research. Same way, if there are some arts or maybe other category, then there can be historical research, survey research. There can be analytical research also. Moving further, If we go in detail, say what is pure research? Pure research is a study of the search of knowledge, while compared to pure research, applied means finding a solution to a problem. Same way, say why we need to go for a pure research. So yeah, as you can see here, it can contribute to new facts. It can also find out new theory for the rest of the community. It may add some concept clarification or some new concept development. It may integrate previously existing theory, and new solutions can be found out. While applied research is done for finding out solution to many practical problems, or maybe some finding out some critical factors in the practical problems. Same way, exploratory research is done for finding out the study of unfamiliar problem, uh, where a little or say very less knowledge is available in the surrounding environments. Same way, it is done for generating new ideas. It increases the research familiarity with the problems. We also can make precise formulation. Same way, it gathers information as well as it clarifies the concept. And also we can put some attempt to find out the feasible solutions. Same way, descriptive research, as you can see here in the screen, we need to collect information. Now, we need to raise certain questions like what information we wish to collect, why that information we are collecting. Once the informations are say collected, for one of the case studies, say there is travel agency. What travelers' favorite travel destinations means travelers select which kind of the best destinations for larger frequency. Say, and that information can be used for increasing the business. Same way, in the research, in the engineering or maybe science area also, we should study the fact finding investigation with adequate interpretation. Whichever informations are collected, that should be interpreted efficiently, as well as it should reduce the efforts. So for finding out the investigation, we also should find out the suitable area instead of going for so many number of area for the investigation. First, we need to identify the suitable area, which will reduce our efforts. Sometimes it may happen that we may explore ourselves in 10 areas, and we have concluding remark with that in the particular area there is no such investigation is made, but that may not suit to our finding area, or maybe it may lead too much time to develop the prototype or maybe solution. So we should find out first the effective area of research, and based on that effective identification of research area, then we should find out the adequate information as well as interpretation. It is one of the simplest type of research where descriptive information is collected as well as it is formulated, and further it is represented in sophisticated manner for the study purpose. So data can be collected using observation or maybe interview or maybe mail questionnaire. It is performed for finding out the theoretical point focusing. Same way for methodological aspect development and data collection. Same way to find out or say to predict the some of the area outcome, we may do the descriptive research. Now there can be diagnostic study also, where we discover what is happening and because of which reason that happening is occurring. It also aims on identifying the causes for the problem and possible solution. So we may consider these as cause effect analysis. Which are the possible causes which may have resulted into certain effect or maybe certain defect or maybe certain rejection. Diagnostic study is normally done for discovering as well as for testing whether certain variables are associated with that particular causes or not. It also performed to find out frequency of occurrence of certain possible causes for certain reasons, or maybe certain defect, or maybe certain say illness. Evaluation study is one of the applied research. It is developed for assessing the effectiveness of social or economical programs which can be implemented for its impact on the development area. Where say results attained with the help of evaluation study are some of the activity which are designed to accomplish some value goal, or maybe some objective which improve effectiveness or say value of social area. It is say performed for assessing or appraising the quality or maybe quantity of the certain activity or maybe certain performance. Suppose improvement of banking services may fall into certain area. Now there can be action research. Say researcher attempts to study action. So for example, say this is the one of the examples. Say maritime navigation is one of the action part of action research. In action research, we reflect the process of progressive problem solution, which can be led by individual working or maybe team members for community practice, and where we may improve the address issuing as well as solution of problem. Same way, say it can be performed for a baseline survey of the pre-action situation. It can be done for feasibility study of proposed action program, where we may also develop say concurrent evaluation of the program. We may modify the existing strategies developed in the program. Same way, another area of research is experimental research, which is normally used in science or maybe engineering, sociology, psychology, or maybe physics, chemistry, etc., where systematic and scientific approach to research, where we manipulate one or more variables. We normally change the concentration level, we change the current value, we may change the voltage value, we may change the density of certain solutions, and we try to find out its effect on the output. Where we also find out significance level of various variable on the output. Suppose we may have varied total 4 factors. Among that 4 factor, output can be 2 or maybe 3. So among that 4 factor, which factor is dominantly affecting on first output, and which factor is affecting more dominant on second output, that we can find out. Same way, combination of various factors and its effect also is identified. Okay, moving further, say experiments are conducted for predictive phenomena, where we may control over all the factors, and we prepare blueprint of the procedure, and we test the hypothesis. Now analytical study, as you can see here, analytical study is system of procedures and techniques of analysis applied to quantitative data. Suppose scientometrics is one of the example. It is a system of say mathematical models or statistical technique applicable to numerical data. Suppose in the previous study of your graduation or maybe post-graduation first year or maybe second year, you may perform so many number of experiments, and you may have varied one factor at time. Suppose you are varying x is input variable and y is your output. So here suppose there x was 10 and y was 12, means if we change value of x from 10 to 12, your output is suppose 14. So likewise we may perform experiment and we plot normally a graph like this. Okay, now suppose if I have performed only 2 experiments, by chance, if I perform only 2 experiments, sorry. Okay, by chance I have performed only 2 experiments. And if I plot a diagram, which I am trying to show with green color. So I'll plot like this. I'll plot line like this. But your trend may be like this, or your trend may be like this also. So we may give a wrong trend line fitting. So experimental as well as analytical research suggest us that at least 3 number of factors, means 3 levels should be varied. Suppose instead of 2 factor, 1 value, 2nd value and 3 value are taken, your graph may plot like this. So now it is confirmed that after variation of input number 1, if we change it to 2, its trend is increasing, but it is positively increasing. Okay, while if we have conducted only 2 reading, then we may plot it like this. So here your trend analysis is wrong. So experimental research as well as analytical research suggest us that whenever we consider a single factor, single variable, it should be performed at least 3 times. Now, in research, always there cannot be a case that only one factor is varied. There can be so many number of factors. Suppose we have varied factor number 1 2 times, and in parallel we have varied factor number B at 2 times. So it is 2 factor design. So we need to perform 4 experiments. But your guide or maybe supervisor or maybe your boss will say that we should go for C factor also, we should go for D factor also. So as we increases number of input and we increases number of variables, means level, there can be so many number of experiments. Suppose if we have considered 5 factors and their value are 5, so there can be possible 625 readings which we need to perform, and we may not have that much of investment, means money may not be available or time may not be available. So experimental design says that we should perform design of experiment. Design of experiment suggests us low number of experiment, and it will give us the same trend which can be achieved with 625 reading. Suppose if I have 3 factor and 3 level, I may have 27 combination. But design of experiment will say that you should perform 1/3 of experiment. That is called as fractional factorial design. So instead of 27, we may perform 9 experiments. Same way, we may go for 1/4 or maybe 1/3. But which combinations are needed to be run and which experiments are to be avoided, that is suggested by design of experiment technique. So experimental research indicates that we should carefully select the number of factors as well as number of variables, and that combination, which combination we need to perform for efficient analysis of the experimental correlation. We should also perform design of experiment. Now historical research, as you can see in your slide, here historical research is performed for systematic collection and evaluation of data related to past occurrence in order to describe causes, effect, and trends. Those events may help explain present events as well as anticipate future events. Where data is often archival, or maybe say which may include newspaper collections, clippings, photographs, and intro also. It is performed for drawing the explanation as well as generalization from the past trends. It enables us to grasp our relationship with past and plan more intelligently for future. The past contains the key to the present, and past, the present influence to the future. Okay. Moving further, we may perform the survey also. Survey research is one of the important area of measurement in the applied social research, where we may right now say we might have so many number of Google links. Google forms are floated by our supervisor or maybe our examiners. Okay. So that survey is now a day. Email based survey also can be performed. Suppose if we are moving to our service station, they normally after getting our car serviced, they get feedback. So that is a paper based feedback analysis or survey. It is done for conducting the natural setting. It seeks response directly from the respondents, where we can make cover over large populations, and survey covers a definite geographical area, district, or maybe state level issues. So research methodology also is one of the tool. It is examined to limited number of variables, case study based methods which involve in-depth or longitudinal examination, where we collect data, where we analyze information, and we report the result. Field research is also part of a research area where it is traditionally been taught different methods of research. Advantage is that field research are with the help of field research, people which are close to the real world, which who are using that services or maybe product, their input will are collected directly, which will help us to improve our product. Now we need to go for research design. So research design means drawing for research. It is systematic planning of conducting research, and it helps us to aim to achieve the goal with lower time investment as well as lower money investment. So research design is arrangement of conditions for collection as well as analysis of data, where master plan is prepared specifying various methods, procedures with a timeline. Week-wise schedule also can be prepared. Why we need to go for research design? Because it helps in smooth sailing of the research process. It saves money, manpower as well as material. It helps researcher for advanced planning as well as it avoids duplication. So research planning as well as research design is to be prepared before research is aimed. Now, process, say first is selection of research topic or topic problem. You might have seen gas welding or maybe normal welding around your working area. Suppose household jali, jhampa, or maybe gates are prepared with the help of gas welding. Now, if you say that same way, there are gas cutting also. For cutting purpose, gas cutting is used. Now, suppose you have studied that gas cutting is not giving too much good quality, then you will say your supervisor that sir, gas cutting should be replaced with laser cutting. So that can be a very good solution, but it is very costlier solution. So in single day, suppose if we find out that sir, I have find out research gap and your gas cutting should be replaced with laser cutting. So that is not very good aim of research, because laser cutting may invest too much of amount of money. So with less investment and with less effort, how gas cutting quality can be improved, that should be your area. Okay, so we may have so many number of spurious idea, but whether it is feasible or not, whether it is economical or not, that we should first identify. Suppose by chance change of gas cutting with laser cutting is accepted, but later on due to economical purpose your idea may be rejected also, where you may have ended with your 1 year of dissertation or maybe 3 years of PhD or maybe 2 years of PhD, where we may need to change research area. So first and foremost important part is selection of research topic or maybe problem. Your research topic should be identified based on the well-proof literature review, where suppose if I land myself in Bombay Sea and I'll say that there is no very good fishes available in the Mumbai sea floor area. So that statement can be very wrong, because whichever fish we wish to find out in the sea area, that may be available in Tamil Nadu sea area or maybe Gujarat sea area or maybe USA sea area. So by little bit low research, literature review, we cannot come to a conclusion of research topic or maybe research area. So whichever research papers are available in your desktop through Google source, and we framing a research area cannot be a very good suggestion. So we should go for some reputed journal papers literature review. We should go for Google patents. We should go for paid patents review also. And based on that thorough literature review, we should find out our research gap. And once research gap is identified, we should formulate our research definition or maybe research problem. So which can reduce our number of years or maybe number of attempts. After that, we should frame a research design. We should frame sampling design. Suppose at your university, if good literature review facility is not available, subscription is not available, you may demand your supervisor or your friend circle for downloading that research paper. Your supervisor may send that link to IIT or maybe NIT friends where subscription is available, and you may review that paper. Okay, just finding out or reviewing the open source patent and concluding a research area will not be a very good solution. So we sometimes we may go for paid patent also. So some of the university are giving 3-day or maybe 2-day access to various students for finding out the paid patent also. So that resource analysis we should manage, and based on that we should study the paid literatures as well as open source literature also, and based on that research gap should be identified. There are so many number of journals which are available, which normally take subscription amount or maybe say publication processing charge, and they publish their paper within 1 month or maybe within 1 week also. So that paid journals sometimes author may be little bit weak in that particular research area, and he may have concluded wrong also, and taking that as a step for our research area identification also may lead us failure after 1 year or maybe 6 months or maybe 2 years. So for that we should always refer reputed journal paper for literature review, and we should find out our research gap. We also need to frame our Gantt chart or maybe say futures planning for fulfillment of that requirement, for fulfillment of that research gap. So once a proper research area is identified, we need to find out research gap. And once research gap is identified, we need to frame our methodology with a week-wise schedule. At which week or which month I will prepare which type of outcome of my research, that also should be framed. So we will be able to finish our research within the time frame limit. So research design is framed, then sample design is prepared. We should collect the data. We should do the data analysis editing. Suppose if I wish to find out solution for possible failure of my life, that I am not able to wake up early in the morning, then I need to find out my possible causes because of which reason I was not able to wake up early in the 6 a.m. for maybe 1 year or maybe 2 years. And if I formulate such question, I'll have certain data that some of the reasons will be occurring frequently. Suppose I am watching TV for a longer time at late nights, I'll not be able to wake up early in the morning. Same way, suppose I am moving around in the city, and because of that reason, I may not be able to wake up early in the morning. Same way, my food habits are such that I may have stomach pain, and because of that, I was not able to sleep properly, and hence I was not able to wake up early in the morning. So there can be 100 reasons. But if we plot in histogram, if we plot that reason in histogram based on the frequency, there can be certain reasons which are playing major role for getting a wake up early in the morning. So instead of, suppose if I find out 10 reasons for not getting wake up early in the morning, I do not need to solve all the 10 problems. If I plot this as per the frequency, if you study here, these two are or maybe three are playing major role for the possible reason because of which I am not able to wake up early in the morning. So in daily life, or maybe in engineering, or maybe in science, or maybe in pharmacy, there may be 100 reasons. If you plot with frequency, there are only 20% of reason. There are only 20% of reason because of which 80% of failure or rejections are performed or are occurred. So instead of solving 100% or 100 reason, we should focus only 20% of reason. And if we put attempt to solve that 20% reason, we'll be having 80% of success in our research. Okay, so solving 10 problems will not give you a very good research, but doing statistical data analysis and preparing Pareto analysis. Remember this term, prepare Pareto analysis. It will take only 10 minutes to plot Pareto if you have Excel or maybe other software. So Pareto analysis will help us that to find out 20% reason. That if we try to find out that 20% solutions for 20% possible causes, if we try to solve that problem, will have 80% of success. So in engineering research or maybe in science research also, instead of solving 10 possible area, we should try to focus only 2 possible area where we may try to find, we may lead 80% of solution of that particular societal area or maybe other area. Same way, after say data analysis, we may go for some editing, coding, processing, preservation. Same way, we may write some research reports also, or maybe research publication. Your good characteristic, good research design is characterized by say theory grounded research, environment based research, feasibility of implementation. As I said that we should change gas cutting with laser cutting. That solution is not feasible because anyone cannot afford this laser cutting. So same way, we may suggest so many number of possible say solutions, but feasibility of development of that solution also needs to be checked first. Same way, it should be redundant as well as it should be efficient. It should be flexible, it should be economical, it should be unbiased. This is one of the important part of your research area. In parallel, say your research finding or research proposal should also like by your guide also, okay, or supervisor also. Same way, it should be more appropriate to all the aspects. It should guide us or maybe any person to achieve correct result. It should provide scientific base for the research, and we should facilitate to complete the research within the stipulated time. Suppose I may have very good problems which may address the societal problems, but if I take 10 years for finishing that research gap, then it is not worth for either to me or maybe to my supervisor or maybe to my society. So functions of research design, it provides blueprint of research, it dictates the boundary, and it enables investigation to anticipate potential problems. Suppose by chance, if we are not able to find out potential solutions, then your research is not wrong, because you have opened doors for others that if you go to this direction, there is 100% failure. So you are opening doors for the other researchers to not to go in that direction. So if your research area fails, your experimental investigations lead us little bit wrong results, then also we should not get worried. But how to interpret that result and how to showcase that result, because of which other researcher or scientists do not perform that wrong errors, is also one of the good outcome of research. Research design should content title of investigation. We should also find out purpose of study. As I said, that very good literature, brief literature should be reviewed. We should first prepare the statement of problem, and then we should prepare the scope of investigation. Suppose my research area is that I should reduce traffic at my traffic signal, then that is the problem definition. But how I will try to reduce that traffic problem, then I will find out that I will broaden the roads, I'll put signals, I'll guide or train the automobile users. These three are the possible way with the help of which I can reduce the traffic. So problem definition is divided into brief step, that is called as objective of study. Suppose I need to reduce the corrosion problem in the metal parts. So to reduce corrosion effect in the higher chromium nickel material of 10 mm thickness is my problem definition. Now how I will reduce that corrosion effect, that I need to broadly divide into three major tasks. So first is that I should select the material, I should find out the corrosion prevention methods, and third, I should prepare the experimental investigation. So selection of the area, then say selection of the corrosion preventive methods, and third, corrosion prevention thickness, coating thickness, and its effect on the corrosion resistance needs to be identified. So I have divided my major area into three objectives. Now first objective should be achieved in 2 months. Okay, then after 2 months, further it may take 4 months, and this final part may take say 5 months. So I have divided my 1-year plan into this detailed timeline plan. So 2 + 4 + 5, as you can see, a total 11 months are there, and 1 month I may take for research writing and etc. So 1-year plan is to be prepared on paper. We also should find out the variables. As I said that corrosion prevention is one of the tasks. Now, which are the variables due to which that corrosion is occurring? That variables we need to first find out. So I may find out, say, water concentration is one of the problem. Water quality is the second problem. Thickness is the third problem. Okay. And application is the fourth problem. So water concentration is one of problem. Then how many number of water concentration value I need to vary for my experimental design, that also I need to find out. For how many number of thickness I'll perform that experiment, that I need to find out. Okay. By chance, suppose if we do not study that variable properly, then in our experimental design we may select certain variable that may not have sufficient or maybe significant effect on our output, and because of that we may have wasted time. We should find out some of the hypotheses, we should select some of the sample data collection, as well as analysis of data should be performed. Now as you see here, positivism and positivism approach in research needs to be concentrated first. So positivism assumes that social phenomena can be approached with scientific method and makes number of assumptions about the world, while post-positivism is in the area of philosophers, scientists, or maybe say research and other, calling the assumptions of positivism into questions. Suppose positivism suggests us deductive, quantitative research analysis, while post-positivism gives us indicative, inductive or qualitative research area. Here certainly some outcomes are addressed, where here we deal with the probability. Here we may frame some objectives. Here subjectives area are identified. Here scientific approach is applied, while here humanistic approach is applied. absolute reality is considered, while here critical reality is considered for the research area. As I said, that there can be experimental research design and non-experimental research design. We need to prepare survey research, we need to develop correlation, we need to go for casual comprehensive research, and after that experimental research is performed. Say survey method is one of the best technique used for the preparing very good efficient research design. Now moving to further, say there can be exploratory research also. Say deductive reasoning is normally applied for existing theory, and inductive reason is done for specific observation. Then it is followed by pattern recognition, general conclusion, and later on the research is concluded. We need to develop correlation. As I said, that if we use low number of experiments, your trend may be linear. But if we have skipped certain number of experiments, your trend may fall like this also, or your trend may initially go in decrement form and later on it may have increment form. At suppose initial value of input, your experiment will have positive effect, but at the intermediate range of experiments, your trend may be falling also, means negative increment also may be possible. So correlation is important part of research area or research gap identification. As I said, that there can be positive correlation, negative correlation also, but always in science or maybe engineering, trend is always not linear. It can be non-linear also. So we should go for non-linear analysis also. Suppose if we plot certain equation, that is y is equal to a plus bx, x is your input and y is your output. Why you have selected y is equal to a plus bx? Why you have not went for y is equal to a plus bx plus cx square? Okay, there can be quadratic equation for your data also. Okay. Why you have not went for y is equal to a plus log x? Your input and output may have this kind of relation also. So right now in your research area, there are so many student version softwares available where you write your x value as well as y value, means input and y value into your software. That can also be done in Excel also, and you can fit this kind of trend which can be linear or non-linear. Okay. Excel is having little bit narrated application, but suppose DataFit is one of the very good software where 250 models at one time is fitted to your data, and whichever is the best model is given to us, where accuracy of prediction is very good. So we may use that various platforms for correlation analysis and into our research design. There can be quasi-experimental design or experimental design. There can be non-experimental design also, where we may develop, we may study case designs, case methods. We may do the content analysis, ethnography, focus group, and network analysis or sociometry can be done. Data collection is performed. Data collection is one of the very good part of our research design, where wide and variety of data should be collected and with certain methods, and pros and cons of various areas should be weighed up in the view of rich and complex content. Suppose due to corona condition, there was very huge demand in as there is COVID situation is now your demand related to medical or biomedical product related to corona disease is now reduced. So sometimes significant effect of environment or maybe geographical area is also needed to be considered. Suppose right now I am sitting in Vidyanagar region. Here corrosion issue may be little bit lesser, But in the coastal area of Gujarat, like Dwarka, Somnath, and other area, corrosion issue may be little bit more. Humidity also may be playing major role, and because of which your experimental research or analysis may be little bit varied. So geographical area implications also needs to be considered in our application. Suppose if I am performing my research early in the morning, whichever environmental conditions are there, that may not be same in the afternoon session or maybe evening session. So whenever I plan my experiments, I should frame certain time boundary in which my experiment should be finished in the prescribed time limit. Data collection process where we should have thorough planning, well considered developments, effective piloting, and field modifications should be considered. We will not go into much detail of this part because we have few more topics are also remaining. So we will go to next part. Here you can see here we may prepare questions quantitative and qualitative research. Okay, please hold for a second. Okay, so I hope I am audible to you.
Yes.
Okay. So introduction to quantitative and qualitative research. Research methods are split broadly into quantitative and qualitative method. Here we need to raise research questions, underlying philosophy of the research, and our preference as well as skill. Suppose ontology, where how you the researcher view the world and assumptions that you make about the nature of world. Suppose epistemology, where assumptions that you make about the best way to investigate world and about reality. Methodology, where the way that you group together your research techniques to make coherent picture. And method and technique, where what you actually do in order to collect your data and carry out on your investigation. So in realism, say the world is real and science proceed by the examining the observing, where truth is that it is single truth, and fact is that fact is existing, that world is real. Okay, but in internal realism, world is real, but it is almost impossible to examine it directly. And truth is what? It exists, but we can obscure it. Fact is that facts are concrete, but it cannot always be revealed. In relativism, it feels that scientific laws are basically created by people to fit their view. And fact is that fact depends on the viewpoint of the observer. Suppose God is there, but there are some person that they believe that around us God may not be available. But while some of the persons will strongly believe that I am living because of God. So here, these are the area of relativism. Nominalism, where facts are all human creations. Okay, we do not go into detail and we go to our main area. Say quantitative data is about quantity and therefore it deals with the number. Qualitative data is about nature of thing which can be investigated, and it tends to word. Suppose fragrance of my perfume, it cannot be related with number, but it can be filled with some feelings only. So there will not be a number. Where only we can relate numbers, like say 10 is very good and 1 is very poor. Difference between primary and secondary data source is also needed to be studied properly. Choosing your approach. What is the unit of analysis? Suppose, for example, we may study about country, company, or individual. Are you relying on universal theory or local knowledge? Will your result will be generalizable? Will it produce universally applicable results? That we need to find out. Suppose I may have changed the concentration value of salt area in water, and it reduces the corrosion prevention, or say corrosion resistance. That same statement will not be applicable to other geographical area, because at that particular area, TDS value of that particular water will be little bit differ. Okay, so same kind of consideration we need to develop. Quantitative approach, it attempts to explain phenomena by collecting and analyzing numerical data. Variables are controlled as much as possible, and so that we can eliminate inference. In quantitative data sources include survey, observations, and secondary data, such as government data or maybe some scores. We may use analyzing technique, such hypothesis testing, correlation, or maybe cluster analysis. Suppose black swan and pulsability. Suppose here a statement is related to hypothesis, where some of the scientists say that black swan, it is deductive and it relates to inductive reasoning. Okay, we start with null hypothesis that there will be no difference. But if other person who is having blind effectiveness problem, eye effectiveness problem, he will say that this one are not black. There are type 1 error and type 2 error. Never confuse with type 1 and type 2 error. Just remember that type 1 and type 2 error will have its own order. There can be effect or maybe wolf. Moving to further, say, moving to next part, qualitative approach. Any research that does not involve numerical data will fall into qualitative research area. We may use words, picture, photo, video, or maybe notes for identifying our possible causes for the particular effect. We need to tend to start with broad question rather than specific hypothesis. We develop theory such as inductive or maybe say deductive. Qualitative data can be received from interview, focus group, questionnaires, survey, secondary data, direct observations, or maybe ethnography. Here, once data is collected, we need to do content analysis, grounded analysis, social network analysis, discourse analysis, narrative analysis, or maybe conversation analysis. And based on that, we need to prepare some findings. We need to find out differences and similarity. We need to find out issues surrounding the participant, how that mode of delivery is made, number of participants included for the data collection, user experience, opportunity given to that particular learner, etc. And based on that, we should find out some concluding remarks. Moving to next, say whichever research design we are preparing, what is validity of how we will validate that design, whichever design we have prepared, what will be the reliability of that design, dependability, confirmability, creditability, as well as transferability is to be studied properly. And moving further, we should define our research problem. We should do the review. We should formulate hypothesis. We should prepare the research design. Data collection is to be made. Data analysis to be done. And after that, interpreting as well as report writing is to be performed. So suppose we wish to prepare a research thesis or maybe research paper. We should document our scientific things. We should develop scientific papers that are the head of scientific community. So research paper or say research thesis is expanded essay that presents one interpretation or evaluation of argument. When anyone write a research paper, they build upon what they know about the related area or maybe what other experts have said. Research paper involves surveying a field of knowledge in order to find the best possible information about that particular area. Your research paper may have scientific category, art category, humanity category, religion, management, language. Okay, science related may have public domain, objective, predictive, reproducibility, systematic as well as cumulative. Publication makes it possible when final step of discovery is made. If we have reached to our final stage of experimental plan, then we'll be able to publish our thesis or maybe data or maybe research paper. Biomedical research, suppose what I should read. So to find out whether to use new diagnostic test or treatment, I should find out. To learn clinical course or prognosis of disease or treatment, we should read. We can read it to determine causes, to determine distinguish useful or from useless or harmful therapy. What should be in our research paper? We may have introductory section, we have methods, we may have result, and we may have discussion. Suppose in introduction part, what question was studied? How question were studied? What we found and what do with the results? In your research paper, we may have title, author, affiliations. It is followed with abstract, subsections, table, figures, references, acknowledgement, appendix, and electronic supplements. How do I research paper? Okay, so we need to first understand problem. We need to understand the proposed solution. We need to complete the approach or maybe design. Then we need to evaluate the paper. Okay? Once the paper is ready, we should also do the peer review also among our groups, among our friends, etc. Now, suppose whichever problem I have tried to solve, is it important? Is it relevant? Why it is relevant to society or maybe area, that we need to find out. What is the prior work in that area? What others have done and what I have performed, that also we need to find out. Later on, say easier to evaluate the older papers. Does the other work build on it? Do other paper use proper technique or solution? Whether I am following the same techniques or not, that we need to find out. Read slowly, take note as you read. Whenever we read any literature paper, we should always note it, because at the end of summary, from which paper we may have taken which statement, that confusions will be created. Okay, so we always, whenever read some papers, we always take a note, and in bracket we should write the author name or author number. Sometimes what is not in the paper is more important than what is in it. That should be studied properly. Sometimes we may overlook that research paper. He may have highlighted some of the very good or critical analysis, but we may overlook it. Same way, that scientist may have performed so many number of experiments, but he also may have overlooked some of the areas which may critically study, we may analyze, and we may publish it in our paper also. Okay? Do not assume that paper is correct, and even if it is published in the prestigious peer review journal. Try to understand what they have performed. Don't afraid to ask. Suppose if we feel any confusion, or we have some of the critical aspect to be discussed, we should write an email to that particular author. Be constructive, be polite while we are writing some of the conclusion, and don't afraid to criticize. Two types of scientific papers contain two types of information. One will be the review article. It gives an overview of scientific field or topic by summarizing the data and conclusion from many studies. And primary research article, which contain original data and conclusion of the researcher who were involved in the experiment and how experiment were performed. Now moving further, suppose if we go to the next part, struggle with paper, active or not passive reading, that we should critically study. Use highlighter, underline the text, scribble the comments, questions. Okay. If at first you don't understand, read it and read it again. Okay. Moving to next. Suppose medical writing paper is there. Write paper as a time and lifetime priority. Responder and responsibility to the referees. Review your paper. Referee papers become reviewer, editorial member, sometimes maybe even editor also. Okay, moving next. Writing order. We should prepare, we should goal, we should sequence, and after that we should post write it. In research paper, we may have title. Title means what is paper about? We should to explain. Introduce your work. First thing, we should read it. Usually we only read the things, but we always read it so that it serves to entice intended reader. How do you evaluate your title? That is also one of the important questions. Characterize a very good title. We should frame so many number of titles so that your whole work is reflected. And after that, avoid qualifiers, jargon, abbreviations, filler, etc. should be avoided. We should evaluate our title in a way that does title tell you what is inside? Does it overstate contents? Does it blend to entice reader? Is it too cute, or say it is? Does it misleading the information? That kind of question we should frame in our mind. We should discuss with our friends and etc. And after that, title framing should be made. Authors who have written that paper, that we should identify. How many number of authors are there? What should be sequence of that authors? What are their roles? That also should be clearly identified, and based on that, author writing should be made. Moving further, controversy also should be addressed properly. Okay, and based on that controversies, author preference should be written. Ultra mini abstract, whichever we have reflected in our title, if it is written with 10 lines, then it is your abstract. Okay, your abstract is what is the essence of your study. Okay, what message will be taken from that paper to your readers, that should be clearly mentioned. Okay, you should clearly state your problem. You should clearly state your conclusion. How you have derived that solution, which method you have used, that each and every point should be addressed either with 1 or 2 lines into your abstract. Okay. Moving to next part, introduction. Your abstract is followed with introduction. What I like, what I hate, what I should accomplish. What is the problem? What is important? And what are the approaches related to that particular problem should be elaborated in detail. Abstract will highlight only 1 or 2 lines, while this will highlight 1 paragraph or maybe 2 paragraphs related to your problem, methodology used as well as solution derived. Moving to next part, materials and methods. After introduction, which materials you have studied or which materials you have developed, which method you have carried forward for possible solution development, you should study. So how study was performed? Should I believe this study? That everything is explained into this. Is study valid? It is whether it is replicable or not, that everything we need to mention. Okay. Then time frame, context study also should be done properly. Moving to next part, what was found, that should be written into your result part. What do you look for? What should be there and what should not be there? That we should critically study, and after that, result section should be written. Moving to further discussion. Moving to next, reference. Can I verify claims and arguments? Whichever reference literatures I have read or used for the framing of my thesis, that should be cited properly wherever it is applicable. Moving, publication ethics. This is the area of philosophy where we involve deliberation, defending, and endorsement. Conception of good and bad actions. It is system of obligation that we have toward others. We should study of principle guiding the good and individual within the context of social interactions and community. You can see here in ethics, we should certainly follow rules and regulations. We should understand value. Suppose we have written certain lines. We are not the inventor of that certain line. We may have read some articles and we may have rearranged that statements. So we should not forget to quote that researchers while we frame new statements using certain older research articles. We should have some moral principles. We should perform the ethical practice. We should follow rule of conduct while we publish our paper. We should have integrity while we publish our thesis or maybe paper. We should respect the finding of other scientists. We should follow the rules, regulation. We should also follow the justice. Confidentiality also should be observed properly. Moral principles, ethical practice, value, privacy also should be considered properly. Beneficiaries, autonomy, and non-malfunctioning also should be addressed properly. Honesty. Researchers should honestly report data. We should also report research methods, procedures, results, publication status. Never falsify, fabricate, or misinterpret data. We should not do this. Objectivity. Always aim to avoid bias in experimental design, data analysis, and interpretation. Personal decision or maybe expert testimony. Integrity. Do not contrary to your promises, agreements in your research. Do your research with sincerity and endeavor for regularity of thought and action. Carefulness. We should avoid negligence while we are performing experiment or thesis preparation. Careless will result into always error. Respecting intellectual property. Always respect copyrights, patents, and any other type of intellectual property. Never use unreleased data, methods, or maybe results. Confidentiality. Safeguard confidential information like personal information, military, trade secrets, patient records, and other information. What we should do and what we should not do. Maintain a good record of your all research activity day-wise or maybe week-wise. Report your data as carefully. What we should not do. We should not fabricate data or findings. We should not manipulate or we should not misinterpret data. Disclose financial or personal interest always should be made. We should not deceive research sponsors, colleagues, ethical committees, and other bias. We treat animals with care and respect when study them in your research area. Same way, we should not use any external research data which is either published or unpublished, and we always should take permission while we use that data. Suppose it is our sole basic responsibility of author, maybe editor or reviewer, that we should always follow code and conduct or regulatory mechanism in publication process. Basic responsibility of author. Author are always accountable for the contents, research process, or maybe results. Author should double check their own research paper, such as calculation, data presentation method, analysis of result, etc. Okay. Your supervisor will always look for this all various aspects. Will not go into detail because one more topic is related, that is use of ICT in our research area. So statistical analysis, central tendency and skewness, where you can see here we may go for mean, median, mode, quartile, decile, percentile, or maybe skewness. Same way, dispersion and distribution. Here it can be represented with standard deviation, mid deviation, quartile, or maybe variance. Correlation and regression analysis, that can be represented by correlation regression line, which we have earlier discussed, that is y is equal to a plus bx. Okay. Same way, time series analysis such as component and mathematical model of time series should be developed. Association of attributes such as class frequency, number of classes, consistency of data, positive classes. Methodological analysis such as NOI, analysis of variance, should be performed. T-test or maybe Z-test is performed. Chi-square test, data mining also should be performed. Predictive analysis such as probability analysis, okay, goal-seek analysis, data mining such as algorithm, market basket analysis should be performed. Numerical analysis can be performed using Minitab software or maybe SPS software or maybe R language. SPSS and Minitab are the paid version, but R language is open source platform. Suppose if you say that my institute or my university do not have SPSS or Minitab version, so I was not able to do statistical analysis. So you should not make such kind of statement. R language is one of the open source platform which can be used instead of SPSS or Minitab. So there can be paid version, but always there are student version or maybe open source software or platforms are also available. So we should not limit our research due to infrastructural resource facility availability. Okay. So this we have already seen. Now you can see here we have defined our problem. We have reviewed the concept theories. We have reviewed the previous literatures. We have defined the research gap. Then we need to formulate the hypothesis. And research design is prepared where we need to use ICT. Then data collection execution is performed. With the help of ICT tool, we should do the data analysis as well as processing. Okay. And again, for interpreting the result, because use of ICT will reduce our time. As I said that within 1 minute we'll be able to do predictive analysis, mathematical model development, as well as variation or variance analysis. So whichever task we need to perform with the help of in 1 month, that same task we can perform with the help of ICT tools within 1 minute. But how that ICT tools are giving that result, that study also should be done properly, and hence we should study manual calculation. Once manual calculations are understood properly, then we should use ICT tool, because in the exam part, how that model is developed, that also we should be able to explain. Software will give any model, any variance identification, but how that model is developed, that also should be studied properly. So before use of ICT tool, how that manual calculation means fundamental study, fundamental analysis done to use of ICT tool. You can see here data collection and execution. Primary data collection and secondary data collection should be done with the help of ICT tools, say referencing tools such as there are so many referencing tools that we should use say add-on can be made in Word or maybe Excel also. Mendeley is one of the referencing tool. Likewise, there can be so many other tools also available with the help of which we can reduce the effort. Okay, moving further, say data analysis with the help of ICT tool can be done. As I said that variance, canonical analysis, multiple regression analysis, multivariate analysis also is available. Suppose this we already conducted at our institute. Design of experiment covers this all aspect. This all aspect is covered by design of experiment. We have successfully organized 2-week training on research methodology and design of experiment at our institute for various researchers like you. We successively conducted 15 days training consecutively 4 times at our institute. Now moving to next, say data mining, data manipulation, data execution, data evaluation should be done with the help of ICT tools. ICT in research, say ANOVA, as I said, that numerical analysis such as number and string variable using SPSS can be done. We may have referencing tools also. In earlier morning session also, sir have discussed that 𝗘𝗱𝗂𝗰𝗁, National Digital Library, 𝗘𝗱𝗂𝗰𝗁𝗁, 𝗘𝗱𝗃, the e-learning tools which are open source in FlipNet, UGC, NPTEL, IIT. 32 DHA channels are telecasted right now 24/7. National digital libraries such as textbooks, article, notes, video lectures are available, which are initiation of the MHRD. 𝗘𝗱𝗃 maintained by developed by the IIT Gandhinagar, IIM and IITs, where e-books, e-journals are available. 𝗘𝗱𝗃 is initiation of the MHRD video lecture series for the engineering students using hand-on application of mathematics, computer science, as well as other principles, which is handled by IIT Bombay. Same way, 𝗘𝗱𝗃, which is the initiation of the MHRD, where e-content and e-books portal are available, which is implemented by IIT Kharagpur. Sodhganga ERIC, that is Education Resource Information Center, full text database materials are available. NPTEL is also one of the platform where online video lectures are available. Same way, eVidwan is very wide library network available. We may have index journals such as DBLP, UGC, IEEE, ACM, Springer, Scopus. Verified journals should be referred. We also should consider journal impact factor, okay, where ISSN, JIF verification should be studied properly. Plagiarism, for plagiarism check, we should use Turnitin, Urkund, small SE tools for grammar as well as plagiarism checking should be performed. Communication data transmission tools, we may have Wi-Fi, Li-Fi, okay. Same way, Bluetooth, infrared, TCP/IP protocol. Suppose we are transferring our file from our pen drive to our computer, that is FTP, file transfer protocol. I am writing something in my mobile and my message is delivered to Dr. Ghanshyam, that is called as MQTT protocol. So there are various protocols. We may be using so many facility in our daily life. but under which protocol that data transmission is made possible, that also we should study properly. Wired tools such as coaxial cable, electronic wave is there, optical fiber, light wave is there. Suppose we are receiving very good network, so Reliance or maybe other company have moved to optical fiber wiring in our area. Okay, so that is one of the new advancement technology. So how fast that data is transferred, same way we may use that kind of techniques to our research area also. We may have physical data storage tools, same way we may have virtual data, that is called as cloud. You might have used word Amazon, but AWS, Amazon Web Based Services, where your data is stored virtually to cloud base. We may have designing tools such as eDrawMax, Libby Diagram, ClickChart, Crately, MS Visio, same way CorelDRAW, Mac Designer, MATLAB. These are the designing tools available. Same way for programming, we may have Java-based technology, .NET technology, web-based technology. Okay, SQL-based database such as MSSS, SQL Server, Oracle, Sybase. These are the various platforms for programming. Okay, which we can use for our research purpose. Microsoft Office is one of the best technique. We should not use the original or base version of Microsoft Office, because Microsoft Word or Excel are having so many number of add-on. If you Google or if you YouTube how to enable that add-on, within 5 minutes we may have add-on of various analysis which we used to perform with the help of Word or maybe Excel, and we may create very good impressive research or in our thesis with the help of that add-ons. Page numbering and header footer also should be done properly. File creation, row, column, etc. should be done. Means Excel also should be precisely used for polishing our research area. Suppose what if analysis, goal-seek. You can see here goal-seek is built-in Excel tool that allow you to see how one data item in formula impacts other. You can see here votes. Suppose yes and no votes are collected and percentage are given here. Okay, so your value is 0.67. Okay, it is represented over here into 0.64. So we can use this kind of add-on for that analysis. You can see here scenario manager. If we click over here, scenario analysis is a common top-down analytical approach where numerous inputs are modified at one time and consistent with common theme. एक कॉलम में आप डेटा चेंज करेंगे, बाकी सब में ये पॉसिबल हो सकता है in group. Okay, same way you can see here, this is the one of the example of that one. Okay. Create summary of all the scenarios. That summary we can create over here with the help of Excel. Microsoft PowerPoint presentations. We should add smart art. We should insert shapes. We should insert image, slide transition, etc. should be made. You can see here database structure is also possible in our PowerPoint presentation when we click on design. Okay, here we can see employee number, employee name, employee address is provided over here. So such kind of add-ons should be used. Networking and networking hardware tools for data communication, where hub, repeater, bridge, router, this also can help us to successfully develop a very good solution in our research area. Research methodology, one of the very good book related to research methodology, C.R. Kothari, which is a publication of New Age International. So I have tried to cover the maximum point which I was able to cover in 1.5 hour. You can see here still there are some of the points which I have not even touched because of shortage of time. If you have any query, we may discuss right now. Ghanshyam sir.
Yes, sir. So, any question from the participants? Sir, I think there is no question from the participants.
Okay, thank you, sir.
No.
I already provided my mail. If anyone has query, I'll communicate through email. I request all of you that design of experiment is one of the very good area when we are dealing with so many number of statistical data in our research area. So try to find some very good research papers related to experimental design. Try to review it. And if you have still doubt, we have already conducted 5 training related to that 15-day training. So you can communicate through email. Even if required, we'll arrange online session also for explaining how to do experimental design, how to do data analysis, statistical analysis using Minitab software or maybe SPSS software or maybe Excel. So you can polish your research analysis in the concluding session, in the result analysis part. Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. I will also share your detail with all the participants. Or if they need any help, they contact you directly.
Okay.
So thank you very much for your really nice presentation. It is all. I think it is all helpful for the GSET as well as for those who have enrolled for their PhD coursework. So
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you. I am again thankful to Dr. Ghanshyam sir as well as management of university as well as School of Science for providing the opportunity to interact with all the participants. Thank you all.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
You.
I am leaving now. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Okay, so we are ending this meeting. Very soon you will get the feedback link. So it is requested to please fill the feedback link. Okay, thank you. Okay,